When FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried spoke with officials, investors, and celebrities, he was able to get billions invested into his burgeoning crypto exchange. But for every person who bought into what Bankman-Fried was selling, not everybody was buying in. Enter actor and crypto skeptic Ben McKenzie. He saw past the sell, and he has now testified before Congress, and he's sounding the alarm for amateur traders everywhere. ABC's Rebecca Jarvis sat down with the former OC star and brings us that report.
You might recognize Ben McKenzie as Ryan Atwood from the OC.
Who are you?
Whoever you want me to be.
Or as James Gordon in the superhero crime drama Gotham.
When I was about your age, a drunk driver hit our car. Killed my dad.
But lately, he's taken on a new role, crypto skeptic. The actor turned author recently published his debut book, Easy Money: Cryptocurrency, Casino Capitalism, and the Golden Age of Fraud, detailing his investigation into the digital currency and his warning to consumers.
I'm sure there are going to be a few people who say, how did that guy from the OC end up writing a book about crypto?
Yeah, trust me. I mean, I feel the same way. What am I doing here? It's a good question. I like to say that Easy Money is about cryptocurrency, but it's really about money and it's about lying. And I know about money from a degree in econ and from making a little bit of it in showbiz, but I know about lying because I'm an actor and I do it for a living. And so when these cryptocurrencies were calling themselves currencies and all these guys were hawking this stuff, I was initially drawn in, but then I couldn't understand them. And I thought, this seems really sketchy. I just went further and further down, and cryptocurrency was everywhere. And some of the most famous people in the world were selling it, but it didn't make sense economically. And if I was right, then it was going to hurt a lot of people. And I felt like I had a duty to speak out.
McKenzie's interest in the topic started during the pandemic, when he, like many others, found himself with a lot of extra time on his hands. And then he had an epiphany while reading his daughter a bedtime story.
I was really debating at that point whether it was worth me speaking up about this. Who am I to call out this supposedly multi-trillion-dollar industry? But I'm reading my daughter The Emperor's New Clothes, and two things stuck with me. The first is the genius of the con is just an appeal to ego. You know, only the smartest people can perceive the imaginary clothes. So adult after adult is tricked into believing the con for the simplest reason of all. They don't want to look stupid. The second thing is the emperor is gallivanting through town naked. It's a child who calls out the lie. The only one brave enough to speak truth is someone who doesn't know he's being brave. He's simply telling the truth. Well, it's hard not to see myself as that child. Who was I to call it out? And yet, maybe I was right. And what a story that would be.
McKenzie teamed up with journalist Jacob Silverman, and the two began their investigation, publishing articles in Slate, The Washington Post, The New Republic, and more, while interviewing some of the biggest names in cryptocurrency, like FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried, now accused of fraud, facing up to 115 years in prison. He has pleaded not guilty.
What was that conversation like?
Bizarre. We requested an interview. He agreed almost immediately. So we ended up in a Manhattan hotel room in July of last year, well before he was charged with crimes. And a lot of red flags for fraud were popping up. Things didn't add up. And I kept asking him to explain it to me in a way that made sense. And we never got there. It was like punching against air. It was very strange. One of the most surreal hours of my life.
How did you feel when you walked away from that conversation?
I didn't know what to feel. I felt uneasy. At the time, Sam Bankman-Fried was being called the JP Morgan of crypto. So he was the purported head of this supposedly multi-trillion-dollar industry. And yet when I talked to him, I found his answers deeply unsatisfying. And the strangest thing to me was that he wanted me to like him.
What gave you that impression that he wanted you to like him?
His behavior, the way he would reach out. He would say things like, I want to keep you from reporting on things that won't age well. Like, I'm going to protect you, lead you the right way. He said to me at one point over DM, I understand that you're skeptical of crypto, but you can't be 100% skeptical. That can't be the right number. Which I can understand the rationale there, but I didn't quite understand what he was trying to get out of me.
He just wants that little piece of doubt.
A little room.
McKenzie was eventually invited to testify in front of the Senate Banking Committee at the end of 2022 following the collapse of FTX and just days after Bankman-Fried's arrest.
The demise of FTX and Alameda represent the most spectacular corporate downfall since Bernie Madoff's Ponzi scheme imploded in the wake of the great financial crisis.
So how do you cram for that?
Well, speaking, you only have 5 minutes. And look, I mean, you know, I'm a performer, so I needed to know what I was going to say. I needed to hit my marks, and I needed to convey a clean and clear and compelling message. And so I ended up saying, I want the American people to know that although the stories of cryptocurrency are very compelling, the truth is very ugly.
In my opinion, the cryptocurrency industry represents the largest Ponzi scheme in history. In fact, by the time the dust settles, crypto may well represent a fraud at least 10 times bigger than Madoff.
Did you ever second guess your own thesis?
Oh my God, are you kidding me? You would have to have a major ego to think that, hey, I think I might have stumbled on one of the largest frauds in history, but everybody else doesn't seem to think that. But surely I'm right. I mean, yeah, oh, absolutely. I question myself. I mean, I still have to check myself all the time. What's wonderful about the crypto skeptics is that's what we do. We challenge each other.
Thanks to Rebecca Jarvis for that report.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.